Hey everybody, welcome back. It's me, your old pal Orpheus here with another edition of Orpheus Plays Playing Blade and Sorcery. And we're here in survival mode again. It's a set of waves that come at you when you choose random weapons that will be offered to you behind me here. And yeah, it progressively gets harder as we go along. So let's see, what are our selections today? We have the trench mace, pretty good for whooping some butt. We have the trench mace, which is pretty good for anyway. And we have the trench mace, which is, wow. Hey guys, developers, real quick, when you say random, yeah. let's try to diversify that a little bit. All right, so we're going to grab the obvious choice of the trench mace. And we'll do a little bit of beat down, crack some skulls, have some fun. Speaking of fun, I hope you're doing well wherever you are today. Whatever day or night or dimension or alternate universe or whatever. Hey, maybe you're from that universe from Doctor Strange where everything's paint. Just let me know how that works. So let's see. Oh, I forgot to do slow motion kill. We always open with the slow motion kill. Come on. Come on, big boy. Oh, you got me in the face. Well, there, you're gonna have one for you. There you go. That thing didn't do anything for you. Alright. Yeah, it's funny, before I came on here, I was listening to some really obscure music. I go to my wife, I'm like, hey, watch what I can do. And I asked one of my digital home assistant type things to play a song. She just looks at me like, what? What is this song? What are you doing? So I explained where it was from. It's a song from Super Troopers, and it's just like, the look on her face was just like, I am unimpressed with what you just made me go through. Yeah, music is a weird thing for me. I will be doing an episode coming up where I discuss how music kind of affects my everyday life. I hear music all the time as a result of my traumatic brain injuries, and it's something I live with, and it's interesting, and you will get to hear. Oh, you okay? Okay. You get to hear all about that in another episode, but today, that actually reminds me, I used to, boy, your pal Orpheus here used to do a lot of different things in life, but it's good, it gives me a chance to share some experiences, and one of those things that I used to do is I was, well, you'd call him a wedding DJ. I don't even know. We've been to a couple weddings over the years, my wife and I, and they have really changed. Like, it's basically just a guy standing at a table with a laptop, and I'm sure these days it's just a guy standing at a table with a tablet playing just whatever songs because he's got some service or huge library, and it's just like, oh, I'm gonna play some music, maybe I'll say a few things, oh yeah, it's time to cut the cake. Bleh. When I was that, we called it a life event entertainment host, if you could inflate that with any more bullshit, right? Okay, so we would do everything from weddings to bar mitzvahs to backyard barbecues. We did karaoke events. Oh boy. One of the things I got hired for once, so when you do a karaoke event, or at least when this company that I was working for did, you would, you'd take it there and you were like the host, right? And I love doing these events because between all the dum-dums that were doing their own songs, like, I want to sing I Will Survive, or It's Raining Men, or any of the other dumb ones that people do when they're at a bar and getting real drunk. Well, in between those, as the host, we were expected... Ooh, clocked you. We were expected to, like, sing our own songs in between, which can get a little embarrassing if you just have to select random songs that everybody likes, right? And you're just the one that's like, I'm just singing these because none of you are. And so it becomes awkward to sing, like, Paradise by the Dashboard Light for 8 minutes, while people are just staring at you and writing down their decisions. Well, one time I got hired to do that, and the client specifically wanted me to be like a lounge singer type host, right? So they wanted me to be like, Hey, we got another one coming up. It's gonna be a crooner for you. Oh yeah, like singing Frank Sinatra songs and stuff. They wanted me to be a cheesy, like stereotypical lounge singer who's just throwing in stuff. And actually, I do it a lot when we listen to like jazz or especially Christmas music. I'll throw in little like doo-wop kind of things. But that's what they wanted. Boy, that was an interesting gig. I did things like some events for like cities. One of them that we did was at a state fair, and there was a bunch of us up on this stage. You know, the ones that like fold out of the tractor trailer kind of things, you know, with all the lights and everything that come with them. You've seen it before. It's where all the bad bands do their performances at those small, you know, fairs. Anyway, so we had one of those, and God, this is going to put this song in my head for the rest of the day, probably the rest of the week, but it's worth it for you guys. We were leading the crowd in the damn Macarena. I'm not going to even sing it or start singing it or even start thinking about it, because if I do, like I said, it'll be stuck in my head for the rest of maybe the year. Anyway, so we're sitting there. We got a crowd of like 10,000 people in front of us. And I was the guy. I wasn't the lead because I didn't make enough money and kiss the boss's ass enough. So the guy that was the lead, he's up there and he's like, you know, counted out and, you know, oh, everybody good, right? And I'm on the side. So we're like basically the backup choreography dancers for a lead singer, right? And we're all doing this, and I get real active, and I'm stepping off to the side, and I'm doing little dance moves, and then I fell off to the stage. I fell right off the stage into the crowd. Thankfully, didn't get hurt, but it stopped the festivities for about 2 or 3 minutes while everyone checked to see if I didn't die from falling off of, you know, 4-foot stage. So stuff like that used to happen. Weddings, boy, there's a whole wedding industry that if you're not involved in like the background stuff, the wedding industry is messed up. It started with my wife and I, where we were planning it a lot. We were getting those wedding catalogs and stuff all the time. And I think at one point we went to was it a wedding boutique show or something? I think it was, where it was like, I think it was in conjunction with a radio station that I was working for. I don't even remember. But we used to like plan it out a lot. We ended up having a really simple wedding. And part of the reason is that I started thinking about all these horror stories from weddings that I worked at. Oh, come here. This is sweet. Oh, right in the leg. Come here. And I missed. All right. So, yeah, part of it was because of all these horror stories. You know, you've been to weddings, right? I hope you have. If not, you're not missing much. But after you get the whole ceremony, that's beautiful. But the reception is probably some of the most uncomfortable thing you'll ever do in your life, right? But why, Orpheus? Why? Well, as the guy that's doing the DJing, it depends what kind of host you are, right? If you're just one of the ones that stands there and does nothing, well, I guess they could basically just have a laptop on shuffle, right? just put on all the songs and just walk away. No. The company that I worked for was a fully interactive like host. I was an MC for the night. Okay, so like I said, we've all been to weddings. We've all seen the baked ziti with the roast beef. We've all had the chicken breast with the crappy hollandaise sauce. We've all done watch the bride and groom come out. You have people, oh, if you go to if your host is decent, he goes the, you know, Mr. and Mrs. for the first time, Smith, right? They'll walk out and everything. The dances, the first dance, and the father of the bride with the daughter and all that stuff. And, oh, now it's time to do the garter belt. Oh, ho, ho, and now it's time to do the flower toss, cut the cake and all that. Well, that was all stuff that I had to do. And you're like, well, that's normal, right? Well, that's boring. It is very boring. The songs they play at all of those are boring. And believe me, if you've got some favorites from weddings, like songs from weddings that you hear at every single one, like Open Arms by Journey, that's always one that is there. You got, of course, things like Paradise by the Dashboard Light. Everyone wants to do the Hustle, oh boy, or the Electric Slide, as it might be known in your town. But the thing that made us different is we led the entire night. So it was like a cross between a jazzercise instructor, a choreography coach, a game show host, and an MC. And so the entire night we're like leading people in dances and going around the room and telling jokes. Had a wireless microphone headset all the time, and like I would do stuff like we would do I just remembered this. We would do wedding raids, right? So if we were at a place that had several weddings going on at the same time, if I noticed on the way by to the bathroom or something that the one next door was one of those, people just standing around, even if it wasn't, if it was like a smaller party going on, I would do a conga line, and I would tell them to go get the people from the other room. So I'd just turn up our music really loud so you could hear it next door. And the whole conga line would leave the room, and they'd come back with, like, everybody from that party. You'd always see the other DJs looking at me like, what the hell, dude? What are you doing? So, yeah, we did stuff like that. But by the end of the night, I was frigging exhausted. It didn't make it any better that I was kind of unconventional, right? We wore tuxedos because that's the uniform for people in the wedding industry. And instead of nice patent leather shoes or maybe something more comfortable, no. I wore these giant steel toe boots. Black steel toe boots. So I'm sitting there doing the hustle and stuff, clomping away with my giant boots. I became kind of famous for it. Here's the cheesy thing of the day. So I didn't really have the money to get a decent haircut all the time. And so instead, I would put my sunglasses on like a headband on my head. And I had the same ones. Where is my next victim? I had the same ones every time. They were like silver frames, kind of space looking. And so they started to call me Shades at all the events, to the point where they were team jackets basically for all the crew. And mine had the name Shades on it. It was like, it's so embarrassing thinking about it now, because it's like, wow, hey Shades, what's up? You wanna talk to Black Raven and Razorblade? Sorry about that. I didn't choose it. That's what nicknames are, ladies and gentlemen. You don't get to choose them most of the time. If you do. So the problem with this job, so it's an awesome job, right? You get to party, you get people coming up and hey, do a shot with the DJ kind of thing. Yeah, so by the end of the night, yes, you're exhausted, but you've had a fun time. Except you had to get there 2.5 to 3 hours before the thing starts to set up all your equipment, coordinate with all the staff, because, did I mention? You were also the person that was like the producer of the entire night. So I had to get with the florists, I had to get with the caterers, I had to get with the wedding party and the parents, the limo company. Well, all right, so keep in mind all that work. So I had to... Ooh, clash. I had to... Hold on, I need to kill this guy in a particularly violent manner. You dead? No, he's terrified. There we go. Big twist. So yeah, that's what we did all night. We had to coordinate everything. Okay, so set up all the stuff, coordinate all the people, wait for the entire wedding party to start showing up, do all the announcements for all the night, lead people in air guitar contests, all night, and walking around, getting people off the seats and on the dance floor, basically making it so it was probably, I got this comment all the time, like, that was the most fun wedding reception I've ever been to. And it's because it was just, we did things differently. All right, so usually the party is about 6 hours long. So we're at about, let's say 2 hours before, so we're at 8 hours at that point. About 90% of the time, we got extra hours. So they would pay us by the hour up front to keep going. Ooh, that guy leapt in. Dude. The mightiest wizard ninja on their team, and he is dead. So they could pay you for extra time, right? So that was whatever rate. We didn't really see it. It went right to the company. And so let's say it's another 2 hours of party on top of that. So we're up to 10 hours. Then I have to spend about an hour to an hour and a half tearing down. Nope. What's going on, bro? Oh, he's got a seat. Oh, I stabbed him from the inside. Oh, that's awkward. Oh, shit. Where's my knife? No, bro. I need your knife. I need my knife. I need something. I don't have a weapon. Whee! Can I have yours? There we go. So yeah, so another hour, we'll say another 2 hours. So we're at 12 hours. 12 full hours. Now, most of the time we did get a tip. And I'll get into those tips later. Oh boy. Well, all of that work, plus beforehand setting it up, you had to go get CDs from used record stores. Yes, that's right. This was before we had all that fancy download whatever song you want. Some of us had that, but we're not going to go into the early days of Napster and why it was a bad decision. But, so, we're talking about 20 hours work total to get these things set up. Behind the scenes, on scene, and then back to everything else. So, besides tips, what do you think? Take a guess right now at how much you think I would get paid, or any of us would get paid doing that. 12 to 20 hours of work, and all of that, I mean, I was in the best shape of my life during that. Like, even better than when I was swimming all the time. Because, I mean, you're literally doing an aerobic workout the entire night. So, how much do you think they would have paid me for such a thing, right? Well, now that I've heard your answer, let me tell you what I got paid. $94.13. And I remember it very specifically because it was the same every single time, and every single time I got my paycheck, I was pissed off. $94.13. And I did between 2 to 4 gigs a week. So at that time, it was barely enough to make rent and barely enough to make, bills and buy food and everything. Now, granted, a few nights a week when we went to these weddings, got our share of the roast beef and baked ziti. And at a lot of these events, oh boy, I did backyard parties for for national baseball, baseball stars and stuff. Did one for a football star. I think that was at an art gallery or something like that. Anyway, now, let me tell you about the fabulous tips. Because you say, well, less than $100 for 20 hours of work? There's got to be something involved, right? Well, all right. To be fair, we did get tips most of the time. We got tips usually north of $50. All right, so we're getting paid half in tips for what the company paid us, right? Oh, did he ninja'd away. Whoa. So, usually about $50. Now, if we were particularly awesome, we'd get more. Well, some of the tips that I got included one night, do a really good job. These guys were partying so hard. Like, any song that I would play, a bunch of them would immediately be like, "Aah!" and go flying out on the dance floor, and they're, all the girls and they're basically like mosh pit dancing, like almost flashing into each other and doing all this stuff. Yeah. Get in the face. Oh, that hurt. So, yeah, they're all partying all night real hard and everything. And so the end of the night comes, and I'm tearing stuff down, and the best man comes up to me, and he's like, "Hey, buddy, that was awesome tonight. Just want to know you had made us have the best time, the most fun we'd ever had." I'm like, cool. And at this point, I'm kind of, I'm used to knowing when, and by the way, the mighty mallet rules all, and you will see. Oh, will you see the horror? So this guy comes up to me. He's like, "Yeah, it was an awesome time. Everything was sweet." And I'm like, I'm almost like holding my palm out going, And he goes, "Yeah, no, we got your tip taken care of real good." He's like, I put it back there behind that curtain, because there was like one of those little window alcoves behind me, behind the DJ table with, curtains that were shut. So he's like, "Yeah, we took care of you. It's a real good one. Don't worry about it." So I'm expecting, these guys were rich as balls. So I was like, all right, this is going to be decent. Maybe a few $100 or something, because he doesn't want to glad hand it to me. You know what I'm saying? Like where you put the money in your palm and you kind of shake someone's hand and you slip it to them. That's called glad handing. Got it a lot in that industry. So I'm like, oh, sweet. He goes away. I've got an assistant with me. And I'm like, hey, let's see what we got here. We split up the tip. So I go to the curtain and I pull it back. And there's like a little place, a little cushion you can sit on. These places love to have little niches for everybody to be in. And on the little pillow is sitting a CD case, right? And on top of the CD case is a pile of cocaine this tall. Like legit 2-inch tall pile of cocaine. And I turn around, I look at my assistant, he's like, "What is it?" And I'm like, "Well, it's cocaine." And he's like, "What?" So I show him. And so we're looking at it, we hear behind us, he's like, the best man's like, And I'm like, yeah, thanks, man, that's really nice." He's like, "Yeah, you guys want to do a line right now?" I'm like, "No, I don't." Like my inner monologue is like, "Dude, you are insane. I am not gonna do cocaine. I have enough hyperactivity. You guys see it when I play these games. I don't need coke, man. I need to calm down most of the time." So he's like, "Yeah, you want to do a line?" I'm like, nah, it's late. We got to tear down all this stuff." It's like, okay. So those of you, I'm sorry, those of you who see value in something like that, but as soon as, so I kept it there. As soon as everyone was gone and it was just me and my assistant packing up, I took the CD case and I'm like, and I just blew it all over the room. So it would just get vacuumed up by the staff. Boy, again, I've told that story before to people that have done coke, and their mouths just gape open in just absolute horror. They're like, why would you do that? And it's like, I don't care about those things. Yeah, so that was a tip that we got one time. I had one of the members of the bridal party offer to give me a BJ as the tip. Did I mention it was a guy? No, thank you. I'm good with that. Again, not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just not my preference, But he was really adamant. He's like, you did a really great job tonight. He's like, I want to give you something, to say thanks. And I'm like, oh, cash again. And he's like, no. Why don't you meet me in the back? I'm like, no. I don't need that. Thank you. And along those lines, one of the things I used to do as a DJ during these things was like if I needed somebody, so if it's like time to do the bridal party dance, right, and I couldn't find somebody, so I had my microphone and I'm like, oh, we need all the members of the bridal party out right now, right out on the dance floor. We're gonna have our wedding party traditional dance, and everyone's like, oh, so and so's in the bathroom, and I'd go, oh, or, you know, so-and-so is smoking a cigarette right now. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I take my microphone and I'd start wandering around the place, like looking for them. So, like, there were times that I had gone into the bathroom and, like, I wasn't, like, rude. I didn't catch them, like, taking a crap or anything, but I would walk around with it and be like, hello, we're looking for the best man. We're looking for, you know, so-and-so. So I'd find them in the hallway and I'd like do a little mock interview. So why are you late this evening to your own, you know, wedding festivities? Tell us. Well, one time I couldn't find the father of the bride because it was time to do the traditional, you know, father of the bride and bride dance. So I'm doing my, you know, my little thing. I'm like, oh, where's Mr. Smith? We got to bring him out to, you know, see off his lovely daughter, the first dance. And I'm like walking around out in the reception area. And ooh, she has been disarmed. So I'm walking around, I'm looking, and I go and I'm like, maybe he's in the coat room, right? I open the door to the coat room. And he's got the maid of honor bent over a chair and just railing her. So I'm like, oh, I'm just kind of like close the door quietly. And I'm like, he's busy right now. So I had to go back in and like vamp for the guy, like cover for him. I was like, yeah, so he was in the bathroom. He was just taking care of a couple things. We're going to leave him alone for a couple minutes. Like, he comes out, and then like the maid of honor comes out a couple minutes later looking all fucked up. Like her hair is all over the place. Part of her dress is messed up. The father of the bride, same thing. His tie is all messed up, and he's got, like his fly was half down and stuff. He comes wandering in. Well, I covered that up as well as I could. By the way, in case you're wondering, no, he wasn't single. Oh, and neither was she, by the way. Weddings do weird stuff to people. Like, there's some crazy behavior that goes on in those things. But yeah, so the end of the night comes, and the father of the bride, he walks up to me, and he's just, there's no words exchanged. He just looks at me and he kind of nods his head, and then he hands me $500. And I was like, understood. Kind of just nod back at him, like, yep, went about your business kind of thing. Yeah. So being a wedding DJ at the same time is awesome, and it sucks. Like, it really sucks. I'll tell you, if you want to make some money, do that kind of wedding yourself, or get together a group of your friends and do that stuff yourself. Now, granted, you have to have a personality like Orpheus does. Yeah, right? You got to be a little crazy. You got to have a lot of good stories. You got to be able to think on your feet real fast, right? But if you can do that, go be one of those interactive DJs, because it gives you this sense of accomplishment, because you're helping people with one of their most important days of their lives, right? And if you can make that a better, more memorable experience, hell, people are going to remember you. Word of mouth is going to spread. You're going to make some money because, like I said, I'm pretty sure these days, except for a fancy light rig, most of the shield did nothing for you. Oh, let's see. Oh, that's gorgeous. I should sell that as a piece of art. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Oh. Anyway, so yeah, a lot of the people that do it these days are like, and I hate to say it this way, but we have a lot of these guys in our town that do this stuff. They're like fat, balding guys who try to squeeze into a tuxedo, or if you're lucky, a Hawaiian shirt. And like try to get their way through it, which, oh my God, that just reminded me of something else. Oh, my wife is going to love this. She's sitting behind me. We went to a wedding. I think it was for her sister or her cousin. Which was the one where there was a cousin that was the DJ? I guess they couldn't afford one. This was at I think it was a VFW hall. It was in, your typical small town America. And the DJ was one of their cousins. And he was this guy that looks like they woke him up and, like, hosed him off and put a Hawaiian shirt on him. Oh, was it? No, we... Yeah. Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. So that was a small town America where you get people that do that stuff. Those are funny, man. As bad as they are, they're like watching a bad movie. Because you get people that are like, yeah, now we're gonna do cut the cake. This will be a nice heartwarming time for everyone. So step right up and we'll do... I mean, come on, man. But, yeah. There have been some absurd things that happen with doing that. Especially with the hustle. I will say that doing that job ruined me in the eyes of some of my coworkers later on in life. Went to a holiday party when I was working for a radio station, and the boss decided, he's going to throw a big fancy party at some local... Whoa, what is happening? What is happening? So we had this party, big fancy place, and I think it was like a historic building that had been turned into a for-hire catering kind of place. And so we're drinking, we're having fun. People are dancing, but not, my wife and I weren't really dancing type of people at that point, kind of more serious. I was the news guy, so it was like, I had a little, bent of goof to me, but like my coworkers knew me for being news guy and sort of silly co-host, right? Definitely more serious than you would think. Well, I don't usually drink. It used to be back then that I would have maybe a glass of wine. Maybe a glass of wine. Or maybe a little bit of Bailey's Irish cream in my coffee or something, right? All right. Well, the booze was free. So I figured, why not get as many as I can? Have a nice night. My wife's going to drive home anyway, right? She doesn't really drink. So, there was a red wine at that party that I just love. Is she gone? Oh, she has gone back to the Lord. There we go. But yeah, there was a red wine that I particularly liked. And they had glasses that were a little bigger than your average ones. Very much bigger than your average ones. And so I'm drinking. And we had one of those DJs that was just like the play stuff, don't say anything type. So at this point I'm very drunk. I mean, like, slurring my words, just like sloppy. I'm going out to have a cigarette every like 5 minutes because you forget that you smoke them when you're drunk. And then I hear The Hustle behind me playing, and I think it's the song that you would associate it with. You would be the Electric Slide, right? Or the one by Stevie Wonder. All right, one of those two. They do the hustle to it, and you've seen it. It's you step one way, and then you kind of do a thing, and you step the other way, and you do a thing, and then you step back. Well, my old days of being a wedding DJ suddenly sparked somewhere in my brain, and I loudly proclaimed, "Hey, I know this song!" and proceeded to walk out on the dance floor and by myself do about 2 minutes of this gaudy, sloppy version of The Hustle on the dance floor. And one of the things I used to do is a flourish at the end of it where I would like go down and almost do a Russian dancer kind of thing and then come back up at the end of it. Well, sloppy me is doing that. By the end of the time that I decided to stop, everybody in the place was pretty much staring at me. My wife was, I think about as embarrassed as she could have been at that point with my choices. And so folks, don't get drunk at your holiday office events. I think I've discussed that in another video. Where is my next victim? They're hiding. Their union has decided that they will no longer accept any more beatings. All right, well, I guess that's a natural way to cut things off. I've been Orpheus, your old pal, here on Orpheus Plays. I hope you have a great day. We will see you next time. Bye.